types of euthanasia and some of the background about euthanasia. And first, we choose some definitions about euthanasia. Two of these three definitions were from two associations that we thought that are in the level of that has the level for a good definition. So the first one is the literary definition that is from Greek and is a good death. Eu, that is good, and thanatos, death. The first one is the World Health Association that was created in 1945 with the United Nations. It says that it's a medical action which doctor deliberately provocate a patient's death. And the American Medical Association that was created in 1847, and it says that is the administration of a lethal agent by another person to a patient with the purpose of give death to the patient for an intolerable pain and suffering. Some of the background, as we know, the euthanasia is linked with medicine, and medicine has a lot of years. So the perspective of the euthanasia has changed over the years. The first recorded use of the word of euthanasia was by Suetonius. He was a Roman lord walker, and in his De Vita Caesarum, that is a book about the Caesar August, he says he used the term of euthanasia. The Caesar was dying in the hands of his wife, Lydia, and he was with no pain in the arms of his wife. So he used the term of good death. In Mesopotamia, the Assyrian physicians forbade the euthanasia. In this age, the people that were not curable, incurable patients were drowned in the river of Ganges in India. And in Sparta is another example. It was common for newborn child that they were examined, and if they have signs of sickliness or disability, they were left for his death. And this was for protect the society from unnecessary burden and to save this person to the burden of existence. They felt that, like when you said it in the movie.
Yeah. Well, in the Middle Ages in Europe, Christian teachings opposed euthanasia at the same reason as Judaism also does. Christianism brought more respect to the human being. Accordingly, every individual has a right to live because God created us, and He created us, and we belong to Him. So that is for God to decree, not to man. The first objection to euthanasia came from the Hippocratic Oath, which says, "I will not administer poison to anyone when asked to do so, nor suggest such a course."
Well, I'm going to talk about the types of euthanasia. We can divide in 4 different types, and I'm going to mention because first is the voluntary euthanasia when the patient is capable or can decide if he wants to die, like we see in the movie of Jack Kevorkian, some people who has a condition or a disease like affect the motor skills but not the brain activity and things like that, and they can decide if they want to die. And the involuntary euthanasia is when another person, close person like a friend or the family decide if the person dies. This apply when the person, the patient is in, for example, in vegetative state and can decide if he can die. We can divide this in two categories: the involuntary euthanasia or non-voluntary euthanasia. In involuntary euthanasia, someone else choose if you live or not. And non-voluntary is when the person can have the wish is unknown, like in the vegetative stage, we can ask the patient what want. And the active euthanasia is the most, we consider the most controversial because in this, the doctor used a lethal drug and the libertary cause, the death is caused by an action. It's considered the aggressive euthanasia sometimes. It's like, for example, in the movie, I'm gonna say about the movie again because it's a real case when Jacob Morgan killed someone using a lethal drug, videotape, and sent to the notice. That's considered active euthanasia. And the last one is the patient euthanasia, when when the doctor let the patient die slowly and didn't use a drug or something to that. We can know the difference in active and passive because active is caused by an act and passive by omission. And the patient can do it with like turn off the respirator machine when someone is connected and like that. My wish.
Okay, we choose some ancient people that spend a lot of time thinking about some of the what we know nowadays as human rights and that stuff. And the first one is Plato. He believes in the harmony of life, and Plato was against what nowadays is called euthanasia. In his laws 20, he suggests in a general way that doctors should be punished by death if by administering any sort of drug they contribute to the termination of life. Moreover, in Fodeo, he opposed a man who committed suicide because it is against the will of the gods and thus not allowed. He was again in favor of the Middle Age thinking about that the gods are the ones that decides for the life of man.
Well, another important Aristotle, he talks about the moral issue of euthanasia and discusses the problem of suicide. He must state that he did not pay so much attention to it as his teacher Plato did. We saw him before. He contributes to this problem through some passages in the Nicomachean Ethics. Well, here is a quote. But to seek death in order to escape from poverty, or the pangs of love, or from pain or sorrow, is not the act of a courageous man, but rather of a coward. For it is weakness to fly from troubles, and the suicide does not endure death because it is noble to do so, but to escape evil. This means that we, the act of suicide is not a courageous act. We should live our natural life.
I'm going to talk about two philosophers that had a point of view about euthanasia. According to Kant, suicide or assisted suicide is unethical because it is unable to be universalized, and because it is simply using one's body as a means to an end. Kant's philosophy says that no matter what, euthanasia is wrong. And Kant believed that the proper end of rational beings requires self-preservation, and that suicide would therefore be inconsistent with that fundamental value of the human life. Other philosopher of the age of the reason was Locke, John Locke, and Immanuel Kant. Both were opposed to commit suicide, and Locke argued that life, like liberty, represents an inalienable right which cannot be taken from or given away by an individual.
Well, I'm going to talk a little about euthanasia in Mexico. Well, since January 7th in 2008, the Mexican law allows closest relatives and the patients themselves to reject further medication to terminally ill patients. This is the same as basic euthanasia. The same happened, this was in Mexico City. And the same happened in Aguascalientes in 6th April of 2009, and Michoacan 1st September of 2009, the same year. And by December 2010, 18 out of 31 states had modified their constitution under pressure from the dominant church, Catholic Church. And the Catholic Church is known for defending the right of life, which states from the moment of conception until natural death. And so the Party of the Democratic Revolution, or PRD, and the Institutional Revolutionary Party, PRI, tried to decriminalize euthanasia both in the Senate in 2007 and in the Legislative Assembly of the Federal District in 2009. Both failed to change the article number 166, which defines euthanasia as a mercy homicide, which thus is a crime. And, well, they both tried and failed. That's the current status of euthanasia in Mexico. And as a conclusion, well, we can see, as we could see in the movie, there are like opposite opinions about this topic. We can see this topic since Plato and Aristotle, we saw that in the Middle Age. And, well, it can be seen from different points of view, so it will continue to be a controversial topic. There will exist lots, millions of opinions about this topic, so it's a never-ending controversial